Hello, welcome to episode number 6 about the strategy game Warring Factions. This is just a catch up on episode number 5. So you can see the surveyors are almost at their destination. And there's this white line that's showing the rest of their journey. And their scan range is 13.5 million kilometres. They're headed out 16 million, so they'll interlap back towards the homeworld. Just responding to Barker here, because he offered some help, which I'll accept. I don't think it's going to ruin the video about starting up a new colony, because it's mostly to do with research and then establishing your second colony, so it doesn't matter if I get updated technology to help out with the current war, because I can still maintain quite a few episodes showing the progression of the scientists. So you might, if you're new to the game, you don't know how people kind of talk to each other here. Well, I don't know. The use of acronyms is pretty common. I'll just say that when things get heated, and you're talking about, basically people want to know about where the enemy's ships are foremost. So everything you talk about revolves around seeking and destroying the enemy factions. So here I've tried to join by sending an allegiance request to Starcream, but he didn't respond. And that's pretty common because likely in his star log he has hundreds of messages a day because he has hundreds of probes and hundreds of ships and fleets out, and they're constantly being contacted. And he's also probably getting messages from a dozen players at once, so, and over multiple different channels with different information groups. So messages get missed and ignored pretty quickly, so don't take it to heart if that happens to you a few times. And anyway, so of course I'm offering the majority of my ship cap to them, which is a process where they give me money, I buy the ships, they give me the people to crew the ships, then I fleet them up and then reinforce them. But that's another story. So what happened here is there's an error. I'd accidentally send him an allegiance request, and because he's not the head of the empire, it won't work. So I was able to save my message in that bug report, and then you can use the Starlog interface to go and see your sent messages, etc. So I found an old message from him, and I can just send that message to him as a note. So, up next, I recorded this over a few staggered intervals, so things might jump around suddenly. There we go, all my fleets have arrived, and now I'm just checking them out. The green line is their fuel, basically their limit of fuel, I think. Or there will be an outer black line. Yeah, there's an outer black line that shows the total limit. Anyway, they're stranded, and this is how you set up your listening posts. And you go to each one under the roster and click deploy the array, and here it tells you the range. I believe it might even be double, and there's something to do with the resolution, but I'm a bit, it works. And then this repetitive process, and people have made scripts to speed up this whole process. But once these are all set up, I can deploy my sensor array network. You'll see. So every time I log on, I just click one button and I can check all my sensors at once. It's this here under the Intel sub-menu. Ready, you can do it once every real hour. And then I get a list of everything, which isn't much. There aren't any enemy ships out. Any that are probably extremely fast and are not anywhere close to my limit of scan range, so my network is only good for detecting very slow moving fleets that are coming straight at the homeworld. And if you get clever with your knowing the angles in the map and the degrees, this is also to help blind people play the game. You can figure out a 3D image in your head of where things are based on those degrees, because they are consistent. And yes, this is a game that blind people can play with a screen reader, but I could imagine that would be a little bit of a nightmare. So there was one guy who did that. And now I found this Ghosts of the Past colony. What I want to do is check out how much it's going to cost me to invade. And there's a simple way to find out, and this is something you can do if you get into an enemy system. If you set up a colony, you can tell exactly how much firepower you're going to need to take over the colony before you actually build any ships, or before you do anything, as long as you know this trick. But you got to make sure these people are outcast or in that Ghosts of the Past faction. Otherwise, if you attack your own faction, they'll destroy you pretty quick, and then it's game over. So here I'm building the basic fighter craft, and I'll skip time ahead to where it's finished. Now I can commission it. You can use one of any ship, but it's usually what you'll want to pick a fighter of some type, and it could be a fighter bomber, which is a hybrid design I'll talk about in later videos. And fighters are the only craft that are capable of actually conquering the colony and taking it over into ownership, because they are light enough to get inside the atmosphere. And there's a math sum that shows you that I'll find in the wiki. And now I'm just fluffing around I need to declare war on them before I can attack them. But anyway, you go and I find his colony, and then send a fleet, pick this one, make sure it's on kamikaze, because then it won't withdraw. And to only attack enemies. I don't need to click at will, but I will here anyway, because it helps reconfirm their attack orders. Now here, if you were to accidentally click any of the other ones, your fleet will just attack them before you get a chance maybe to actually stop them, and then it creates like this irreversible cascade of ships fighting each other over stupid orders supporting other ships in combat, and it creates this melee of just random crap. It always happens when there's new players, but yeah, that's why you just generally don't keep ships fleeted up around the homeworld at all for any reason, if you can help it. There's always a space station or two though. So now all I have to do is to send him a special character, the period, and then I can complete the message. I don't need to explain to him why I'm attacking him, because he's not playing anymore. But your colony stays behind, so other people can just leave it there as an independent nation, or generally they don't last that long once people figure out there's been a garbage collection, which relieves all of the expired colonies of the faction. Then you can go for it. It's pretty much first in, first served. It's just say go by that rule, because if you ask, by the time you ask people when they bother responding to you, someone else will already take it. So, but we'll find out. This is going to be expensive for me to attack. So now it's engaged in the fight, and I get a battle report. And the only thing defending his colony is civil defence, which is like anti-aircraft guns and other like scrap aircraft. And it's going to take 871 fighters at least to conquer this colony, which is pretty slim, but it might, sometimes things change because of skipping time and when it's calculating certain parts of the battle, and then you'll lose. So you'll just want to add a few more than the bare minimum, as when battles stack up. When there's a lot of battles happening, they can take a long time to process. So the cost of one of these aircraft is 359,300 credits, and I will need 871. So that will cost me 312,950,300 credits in order to conquer that colony. Then I will be left with a devastated economy because everyone will hate me and the alignment will drop. I don't have the facilities to recuperate law and order or build. I don't have the right hospitals, so it's completely off the table. But I did that as an example to show you what happens when there's a garbage collection. So yeah, thanks for listening.